So here we are. I am sorry about the lack of audio if anybody was actually watching last time around. I am now figuring out how to connect audio input directly to output in Unreal Engine. That's my goal for the next let's say hour, and then I'll go back to Gather and Hunt. Um, yeah. Anybody has any questions? Go ahead and ask. I am just planning on getting this working. So if I get this to a display sign, this audio component, by the way, display sign needs to be frequency. Let's put it a little lower, 340 instead of 440. And the A was a little high, and it was also a little loud. I wanted to, let's see, let's add it. Does it have a volume fader? No. Interesting. Scalar. Okay, so you got to assign functions. Math. Multiplies buffers together. That will. There's a mix. Probably. Let's go with a mono mixer. Gain. Yeah. Okay. So this is what we want. We want like a 0.5 gain and a 0.5 gain. All right. So. And now let's see what we got here. Okay, so it's lower. It's not as horrible as it was when it was loud. You didn't hear it when it was loud. Nobody heard it when it was loud. Okay. Some people would have heard it if they watched the video, but that video is gone, lost in the annals of the internet. All right, so here we are. This is running just play sign. It needs to be running. It needs to be running guitar input 1. Guitar input 1. Now, and we go in here, we close this out. Now we're gonna go to guitar input 1. And the input goes straight to the output, I guess, or it should. The input is focused by microphone audio bus. And that goes into a mixer. What is this? Functions. Audio bus reader goes to an output, an audio writer. And now we see if this works. Hello? Hello? Okay, so we've got our Metasound on start. Audio, let's see, this volume, no, this is no randomization. I don't need randomization. I want, so guitar input 1. in the input, audio bus asset, Focusrite microphone. Question is, how do I hook up Focusrite microphone? Auto bus channels, mono. Okay. Um, okay. So now we have to figure out how to load the audio asset into and then this is not Pilatro. Let's edit this. Let's make sure that this is not Pilatro. This is yeah. Okay, content classification, no gambling, no sexual themes. Okay. Software game development. Okay, and then we're done there. Okay. So now we look at okay, we go to ChatGPT and we're like, hey, what is this the audio capture mode node. Yeah, how do I get an audio capture? It's okay. Audio capture plugin is enabled. Edit project settings, platforms. Okay, fine. Platforms. Windows. Is it Windows? Focusrite is selected. Audio. Source data override plugin. Create an audio bus. Okay, set up an object audio capture component in this actor in the details panel. Okay, so let's go here. We go play Metasound on start, components, add capture. Audio capture. Awesome. Okay. Audio capture. Great. And then what are the details? Okay. Okay, so this now has an audio capture component. Sound class, jitter latency. Okay, so we've got auto activate. All right, so let's save that. Hello? Hello. I don't hear it playing back to me, but that doesn't make any difference. Use the audio bus and make sure. Okay, so set it to output to the audio bus you created. Okay, create an audio bus. Um, tools, content browser, audio bus. Okay, so this is the content drawer, audio bus. Okay, here we go. And then this is, okay, it's already created. Okay, so I did create the Focusrite microphone audio bus. And then when I want play Metasound, I go to play Metasound on start. And it has an output audio capture, attenuation settings, sound class, sound submix sends. Set it to output. No. I don't know why it would have. Okay, so let's delete that. And then we put a new one in just in case something got corrupted to that object when I goofed with it. No, it still has a subcomponent, which is interesting. Post bus, pre-fetch bus send, source effect change, enable bus send. Okay, so it's supposed to send off onto a bus, and that makes sense. Bus. Post effect bus sends. Oh, okay, so I bet this goes, I can go to. Okay. No. Clear. Audio bus. Okay. And then, so now I bet that I need to go into the play Metasound on start. I need a, I need a, Metasound source. This is just Focusrite bus. Guitar input 1. Input. Input is an audio bus asset. I guess I should be able to do. Not what I want. Okay, so this is, I guess I can just go to the audio. Yeah, I guess it just goes to the audio. And then this audio. Article one. Okay, so that sounds like it should work. Hello? Mm-hmm. There should be some delay on this and it should have an output. Not awesome. Audio capture details. Okay, so make sure I haven't messed it up. Just get this to be simple sign. Okay, that should, yeah. And the question is, okay, so this is just a, I don't know what this component is. Ooh, that's not a good chord. Okay, wait, work, right. Okay. Um, so, where were we? We were on the, we were on the, we were trying to figure out why this is not sending appropriately to, or not sending and receiving. So it should be receiving. I mean, I don't, I don't think it should be receiving. I think it's not hooked up right. And these are all deletable, I assume. Hello. All right. Well, let's see if I can get. The thing about setting up audio is you want to be able to hear it. Set it to output to the audio bus you've created. Okay. So I've got my play Metasound on start. Play Metasound on start has an audio capture component. Bus. Bus. Okay, so post effect. Okay, so sound source bus, audio bus. Okay, well, let's clear this. Let's clear this and do it straight to the Focusrite. Oh. Okay, well, that might be it. Hello out there in TV land. Hello out there in TV land. No. mean, in theory, this should be sending, right? To the Focusrite input.
Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Fuller here. Thanks so much for checking out these videos where we talk about Metasounds, audio design, sound design, game audio, composer life, all that cool stuff. And today, in the world of audio, sometimes these terminologies can get a little bit. This demo, I have my FM radio. As you get closer to it, you kind of hear the static come up. Click on the mic. We have the bus, which is the pipeline. So we'll right click on audio, down to mix, because that's a mixing thing, audio bus. We're gonna go AB for audio bus, and we're gonna call this radio 2. Because I'm gonna put another one in this world. Okay, and then we'll click on audio bus and we'll select it to stereo. We want a stereo audio bus, and that's it. A source bus to it. Buses in order for them to go into the settings starts. So we got the audio bus. Now what we want audio source bus. It's the only option you have. We'll go SB for source bus. We're gonna go radio 2. So now this is our source bus. A source bus can now act literally as a source of audio. You can drag that in like you would a sound cue or a Metasound. But right now we have to assign that audio bus to it. So we're gonna double click on source bus.
Okay. 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 Let's see. Is this? No. Okay. So what does he do to get this thing into the?
We're gonna change. We're gonna select the one we just created, audio bus radio 2. So now what this is gonna do is it's going to receive audio from anything that's going to that audio bus.
Okay, so my source bus. Okay, so this is sound. No, we want guitar input 1. Okay.
And it's going to output that. We also want to select the bass submix as the master submix and attenuation settings. Okay, let's make an attenuation setting as well. So right now we have none. We're gonna create a new setting.
Attenuation setting. Metasound source. Okay. Okay, that's not helpful. Fundamentally not what I want.
We just sampled explosions and machine guns, but then...
Okay. Okay. Why am I in Spanish? Okay, here we go. Now we're in version 5.1 for audio buses. All right, so audio buses combine sound sources. Create an audio bus. Okay, audio bus. Sending audio to audio buses. Specify to set the default audio buses in the project settings to have the specific audio buses start automatically. Okay. Focusrite microphone. Okay, great. Sure. That can auto rate modulation, not interesting. I can mess with the modulation. Source bus renders the output of an audio bus. Okay. Okay. So we are save all. Metasounds level. Project settings. So my Focusrite microphone is that. My Focusrite audio capture source sound bus is audio is Focusrite input in theory. My output is guitar input 1. And clear. Audio capture. Hello? Hello? We have no output. I mean, okay, the microphone. That's the input. Focus on microphone. That's the audio capture output bus. Okay.
Hey, you, the photographer. How long is your editing process? Go to imagineai.com.
Look what I have. This is a bunch of instances. Let me scale that. So, okay. Which instance is given the proper position. And I can give you 48 bands. Like the and you index that's good.
Okay. And then we go back here. Do I have another UE window open? I do. Somewhere. No. Okay. And play Metasound on start. And then this, I want a event graph. Audio capture. What is the component referred to in what's the component referred to in audio? Um, Okay, so audio capture has a post effect bus send. Okay. And then can I just drag this into, yeah, okay, I can. So I'm looking at the wrong one. This is not what I want. No, it is what I want. It is what I want. Maybe it'll compile, yeah. It'll let me just do dumbass crap, like dumb things like that. Let's see, in guitar input 1. Okay, so let's create a new actor, play guitar 1. All right, and guitar input 1, play guitar input 1. We want to add a audio and guitar input 1. And compile that. File, save all. Delete this one. Let's just try. Let's see if I'm overthinking this and I just needed an actor that played it. Hello? Do I hear anything? Hello? No. So the goal is to create a very basic, get a very basic chunk out of guitar input 1. Play Metasound on start. We're going to delete this because I don't want to play that Metasound. Audio and guitar input 1. Okay, so this Metasound, what I'm going to do in the graph is let's scale this up. Okay. Move it up and play guitar input 1. And it needs a components text render. Okay. And the text render okay. Text, great. Okay, text. Let's see, is it in the right place when I, oh, where are you? Okay, that's not where I want it to be. And also, it's facing the right direction before. Oh, hey, what is that? Stop misbehaving. No, you right there. You go to the other side. Or by the player's start and rotation of -180. The other -180. Okay. Now, this. No. Okay, well that's fine. Whatever. Event graph on tick. Audio, get audio. And cast sound. Oh, yeah, sound. Sound. Okay, so the sound is attached to the audio. Cast to guitar input. Get output. No. What I want is I want the results. Like this is okay, so I disconnected and reconnected. Outputs of Metasounds. Okay, so it was on the cheat, it was on the schedule, but I never actually did it. So there's nothing I can do to check whether this Metasound is operating. So I am currently working on getting this guitar right here. Uh-oh. This guitar right here, which is a 12 string, very nice. Well, I mean, it's a cheap 12 string guitar. It's a nice, I like it. To talk to the wonderful Unreal Engine. I'm not having much luck with it, sadly, because I don't know how to assign audio capture appropriately to an audio bus and get that audio bus to output. That's the workflow that I'm trying to get going. Because in the short term I'm making a puzzle game, but I would like to also I'd like to make a rhythm game, because the new version of Unreal has some very cool tools for making rhythm games, and I'd like to build that. I'd like to build some cool stuff for that. So yeah, so that's what I'm working on. I can get a Metasound source. I can get a audio source to work just fine. What I cannot do is get that audio source to, or I can get a Metasound sine wave to work fine. It's not hard at all. You just go like this, and you drag this just play sine into the game level, and then just play sine. Works great. However, when I try and take the audio from play guitar input 1, it isn't getting propagated to the bus, and when it doesn't get propagated to the bus, I don't get, this is guitar input right here. I want to do this FFT analysis. That's just not working at all. Like UE. I don't want to touch UEFN ever again. You know, the patchwork devices, there are some problems with the patchwork devices. There's some problems with UEFN in general. Okay. The real problem with UEFN for me is that Discover is so bad that anything I make gets just buried. And I don't want to, I made 6 games last year in UEFN, and, I don't, UE is it's so hard to make something that's in UE that will stand out enough and be acceptable to enough people, that there's just no, it's to make real money in UEFN, you need to have 20,000 people play your game and play it for a few hours apiece. And that's not a market I want to chase the way that people play games in Fortnite. Maybe it will be in a few years, so I'm keeping my UEFN skills sharp, but I can't chase that market for the next year or two, at least, if I want to make a living doing this, if I want to make any money, real money doing this, unless I just wanted to pump out red versus blue games and box fights and, and stuff that I did, that it's very hard to differentiate yourself in, the without Epic fixing Discover, unless you love playing Fortnite, UEFN isn't an engine to be working in, as far as I'm concerned. It's a beautiful tool. But the reality is that I can't afford to spend another year chasing it. I really can't. Also, the other thing is that I would like to be able to handle both controller input and input from an actual MIDI keyboard. So Patchwork and UEFN are not going to allow me to do keyboard-based input. You know, I'd like to build a game that, like, wall testing and wall playing all the testing and doing all the testing that comes with building a game. I'd like to learn to play piano and synthesizer and all the key stuff better. You know, and I'd like people to be able to learn to play piano by playing a game. Like, that's really the cool idea to me. So, I mean, it's just not something that can be done in UEFN yet. I'm sure it will be able to be done in UEFN in a few years. Yeah. So now, for now, and I mean, the problem with people with Epic really pushing UEFN is that the documentation um, on using this in Patchwork is not very good, or using this outside of Patchwork is not very good. Okay, let's change this so that it is. And then rotate this thing around again. I don't care. You know, I mean, I don't know if you've looked at all the games I played in, or I made in UEFN. But I made some really innovative things. I made some really innovative things in UEFN. And you know, I made a little bit of money, a tiny amount of money. And all the money I made, all the exposure I got was for, or all the, the stuff I made was for one Red versus Blue map that was a hit for a few days. And then somebody crashed it. People enjoyed screwing it up, destroying the play experience. And then it was gone. You know, I mean, it was very frustrating. My experience in UEFN was super frustrating because after I had success with that one map, I spent weeks and weeks and weeks updating it and trying to improve it and this and that, the other thing. But because I had fallen out of Discover, you know, I never got another big thing in there. And I mean, and then I built, you know, some combat focused maps. And I built a maze map that generated a maze on the fly every single game. But the theme I used was Lego-ish, and because it was Lego-ish, the map is gone now. You know, everything about my experience with UEFN makes me not want to, you know, spend a lot of time building really innovative stuff in it. It doesn't seem like a market that's interested in innovation. It's not. You know, the only innovative maps I've seen made in UEFN in the last year and a half, or in the year that I watched it and worked with it, all of the innovative maps got very, very few players. There were a few that there were two marginally successful maps, and the innovative maps that Epic pushes again and again and again, the FOD map and this map and the other thing, you know, the people building really innovative stuff, they don't get enough plays to make it worth their time. You know, they get a few hundred plays at max, players at max for a few, maybe a week or two. But then people go back to the, you know, the pit and the red versus blue and the box fight and the this and that and the other thing, you know, the bed wars, you know, you know, it's a very, and because players in Fortnite are not as interested in, you know, the bed wars, you know, it's a very, and because players in Fortnite are not as interested in, you know, the bed wars, you know, the players in Fortnite are not as interested in, you know, the bed wars, you know, it's a very, and because players in Fortnite are not as interested in, you know, the bed wars, you know, it's a very, and because players in Fortnite are not as interested in, you know, the bed wars, you know, it's a very, and because players in Fortnite are not as interested in, you know, the bed wars, you know, it's a very, and because players in Fortnite are not as interested in, you know, the bed wars, you know, it's a very, and because players in Fortnite are not as interested in, you know, the bed wars, you know, it's a very, and because players in Fortnite are not as interested in, you know, the bed wars, you know, it's a very, and because players in Fortnite are not as interested in, you know, the bed wars, you know, it's a very, and because players in Fortnite are not as interested in, you know, the bed wars, you know, it's a very, and because players in Fortnite are not as interested in, you know, innovative gameplay as they are in practicing for getting better at Fortnite. Fortnite is a huge game and it's complicated enough. It's on Steam, there are people who do nothing but play Dota 2 or play Half-Life or play Counter-Strike, I'm sure. Um, but Steam apparently has just a massively broader audience than the Fortnite, the Fortnite browser, game browser. I mean, you can look at Fortnite.gg. All right, this is what really seals it for me. I mean, what stays on top is all the stuff that's on top, the paid free for all. I mean, these guys that make, it's just sort of a rebranding of Fortnite. All of this is rebranding of Fortnite. Box fights, more box fights, a little zone wars. The murder mystery, that's new, but when you look at the top 28 games and okay, what's this one? Okay, there's a tycoon game. All right, well, there's a tycoon game in the top 25. That's nice. How long has that one been out? Okay, so this actually has something, but a rampage. Let's see here. This one that's all combat. I mean, it's just yeah, okay. I mean, sure. But the core point is that when I look at the top, and it takes me a long time for me to get to something that's really something amazing. The ball free for all. Yeah, okay. Game dev tycoon. Yeah, I mean, there's not. I mean, okay, it is what it is. But I look at all of this, and I look at this, and as I go down the list, when you're down to like 450, and that's probably a peak for this guy's pink versus blue free for all. So he released this a few hours ago. I mean, okay. I mean, I looked through all that, and I'm down to the nibbins of stuff. When you get down to a 180, and these are the successful ones, and it's not. Yeah. So this guy here, he released this game. If you look at this, he released it He released it on Tuesday the 23rd, so he released it less than 48 hours ago. And he's in Discover. He's in Discover a lot. He's in Discover all over the place. I don't know. But that's somebody that I get down to number 150. He's got 500 players in his game. I mean, here we've got Goat, red versus blue. He released it about a month ago. It's just I mean, that's the fact of the matter is that if I'm going to spend 2 weeks or a month, I released about a map a month for a while, and I would release tutorials around it, and I do everything I could to make a good map, and then release tutorials that fit, that were worthwhile. And if I'm going to do that, if I'm going to spend a ton of time and energy on building something unique and very in depth for me, I need to be able to either I need to, if I'm going to do repeated editings of it and build a community around it, I need to be able to get that community to grow. And to get that community to grow, I need to be able to get feedback, and then after I get feedback, I need to go back to Discover eventually. But it won't. Once you're out of Discover, you're done. Basically, you can update and hope, but once you're trying to build a fan base and get in the algorithm, stay in the algorithm slowly, and do long tail marketing, on Steam it will work because you actually get some money per, if you market externally from Fortnite, and and you try and keep your customers and you try and build a buzz around your game, you can do that and it'll work over the long term. You can actually build a fan base, but I don't think that without just grinding out lots and lots of new junk maps, that it's a viable business model in Fortnite. And I don't want, I really don't want to grind out a new junk combat map every week or two. And that's the way I think I would make money in UEFN, is if I was like, okay, I'm going to build a box fight. I'm going to build a new box fight every 3 weeks, and then just, put it together, release it, try and convince people to play it. Do that every 2 or 3 weeks for the rest of the year. I mean, that just doesn't appeal to me at all. Especially since when I build something, I want to support it. I want to make it high quality, like the, let's flip. Ramparts Dungeon. Huh. Yeah, 1 player. Guy has had the map out for about a month. He was in new update this week for a while. He was in new experiences and new varieties for a little while, new horror. Yeah. Looks like a really cool game. Looks like somebody spent a ton of effort on this game. it has XP activated and still doesn't have players. Well, yeah. I mean, all maps have XP activated. I mean, eventually. Um, it probably doesn't have accolades. I would guess it doesn't have accolades. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see if he's made. Huh, they added that. Interesting. Let's see how many millions. 1.4 million minutes played, huh? Well, no. So they've had two different algorithms for XP. One is for there were accolades, and then there's the accolades algorithm, and then there's the sort of just baseline XP algorithm, and so what they used to do is they used to give you a baseline of XP, and then once your game had enough plays, it would also get accolades. I don't know what the algorithm is like anymore. My assumption is that they've got a baseline XP and then they switch over to your accolades grants when when the accolades are all done, when you've got enough plays for the accolades. Yeah, well, it's fine. I mean, it's yeah, my tank game. That tank game had a few thousand people played it. I thought it would be more of a hit than it was. I thought people would enjoy it and play it more than they did. The reality is that um, uh, yeah, so 1,800 plays. Yeah, 1,800 plays. It's all right, but it's not. I mean, and I didn't get. The limitations on what you can do in UEFN are pretty problematic for me in that game, because that game it would be nice to be able to have power ups. It might be nice to be able to have more control over some things in the tank. It'd be nice to have more selection of vehicles. It'd be nice if the tank and the plane or helicopter were kind of compatible, and you could pick the tank or the plane or the helicopter, tank, plane, and helicopter, and all three of them would be about balanced as far as doing what was done, what you're supposed to do in that game, and if I could modify them. Yeah, well, UEFN is really good for that. You don't need to be a programmer to work in UEFN. Um, the animation and the art for it are, you know, I mean, if I had a lot more skill in art, I would end up doing, a lot more in Blender. I would end up doing a lot more. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, versus as far as programming languages goes, versus is quite easy, and there's a lot of examples of how to do things in verse, and that's really helpful. So if you look at the snippets repository for verse, snippets repository for verse has a whole bunch of different things to you can work with and sort of start with and work out of. The snippets repository is a real cool resource to have, because you can search through it and find something approximately like what you're doing. What do you want to do? In verse, you can just change a player to have flight. So a class settings device. The class designer device. Player flight. You can just add player flight to a class set to a class designer, and then give the player that class, and they'll be able to fly. It looks funky, but yeah, that's the way that you can set people up to be able to fly. You can't. I don't think you can. I don't think you can control player consumables. Just not something. Yeah, you wouldn't be. I don't think you'll be able to do that yet. You'll be able to eventually, but verse and UEFN are incomplete, and probably always in some ways will be. There will be a point where verse can do that, but you would need to be able to access. You'd need more access to the player object, because the player object probably has a shadow or a some kind of item effect attached to it that you just don't have access to yet. So if you're flying players through a level as a race thing, it's very unlikely you'll be able to get access enough to the objects attached to the player to modify those objects. So far, because if you look at what access you have to the player object in a air volume device, people could fly around on the ground, but when they came to an object, it would turn off and they could jump on it. If you can't do that with devices, I don't know how you're going to do it. I guess you could give players a class. You could give players a class that was that allowed them to fly, and then deactivate that class with a mutator zone around the landing area so that they could jump on it. But then they would need to approach it at a specific speed and angle, or they'd just fall out of the mutator zone. That's not something you can do in verse. That's something you would need to do with a combination of existing devices that I know of. It's possible, maybe. But directly modifying players in verse, directly modifying the game in verse, the game, like the exact actual game environment in verse, instead of you know, if you look at the way one second. If you look at the way that verse is designed, really, okay, it's what's considered a view controller system. Controller and then view, okay? All right, so over here you have the stuff that verse can do, all right, which is all the like code things. And over here you have the devices and the things that the player actually sees. The best way I can, as far as I'm concerned, to work with verse is to have verse over here working on the controller and then interacting with the built-in devices, because because the way that the Fortnite servers are really designed and are set up, this line is the line between super complicated stuff you don't want to deal with. Let's draw a little anvil. Can I draw an anvil? Hey, look at that. I made an anvil on the fly. So this is very heavy code. Very, very heavy code. And this is you under the heavy code. I don't want to deal with networking code and multiplayer and all these other things. Okay? This is the real benefit of verse. Is that this anvil hits somebody else in the head. And you can just write the code that works, that does game functionality. That's what verse is for. Is keeping you out of this stuff, because this stuff involves networking. Here we go. Networking, server performance. You might be able to force the player into a crouch, but I'm not sure you can do this. So all the things that you can do in verse, let's see here. All the things that you can do to a player in verse are documented in the verse. Let's see if the player, let's see here, where is player? Oh. Okay, so that might be in the Unreal Engine. Yeah, okay. So we go here. Is that in verse? Okay, so player is active. That's not what I'm looking for. Agent. Player is based on agent. What can you actually do with the agent class? That's interesting. All right, so it's not in the not here. String. Okay, so let's see the base common types. That is not what I'm looking for. First API reference. assets module, characters module, Fort character interface, crouched event is crouching, so you can check whether an agent is crouching, or yeah, you can check whether an agent is crouching, but you can't set them to be crouching. If you want to know what the exposed interfaces are, this is the Fort character interface, the Fort character reference for Epic, and the function that you can call are here, and they don't really have a they don't really have a way to set in the Fort character interface. They don't have a way to set the agent, or set the state of the agent. You can't modify the state of the agent in the Fort character interface. Yet. Maybe they will someday. But they certainly don't yet. Yeah. 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 There might be forcing to crouch something on a device that I don't know about. Maybe you can do it with a mutator zone. Let's see here. Devices. Movement modulator. Speed increases or decreases. Does not. That just applies the speed to a player. There's no force crouch here. Forcing them to. No. I mean, it could be done, but you need to do it a roundabout way. What you could do, let's just put this in here as UEFN. Okay, balloon flying with controls. Okay, so what you need to do to manage this, and it's a big complicated programming project, sadly. Well, not that complicated, but it's fairly complicated, because you need to create a UI button, and this suddenly ruins cross-platform and accessibility. YI. Balloon. activate button, allowing flying. Push button, fly, activate flight, change class of player to a class which has flight. Show animation / balloon over player. That's actually not too hard. It's a reference existing pet code to see how to have balloon follow player. Push button to disengage balloon / mutator zone activates balloon too close to objective. The disable animation, disable button. Change class back to default class. No flight. So yeah, so that would be a way to do it, where you would get a balloon that sort of floated along behind the player, and you could push a button to fly, and then you could also push a button to disengage it. But the flight would be a little janky. It wouldn't feel like the existing Fortnite balloon flight. It would be flight. It would feel like the Fortnite creative flight that you get when you enter your game in test mode in Unify. So yeah, so that's how I would. That is how I would code that. That's the sort of the rough plan I would have. And I don't think I mean, I guess you might be able to bind the crouch button to that. I haven't looked into it. Controls device. Storm controller, third person controls devices. Okay. Yeah, you could probably use that. I don't know if it has. This doesn't have a rebind for the crouch though, and it did. I don't think you can. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah, but you can't rebind. You can't rebind the crouch, which will be a problem for what you're trying to do. If you want to do it on crouch, and that's that is yet another thing. It's like ideally you'd be able to listen to the use button for your balloon stuff. but UEFN doesn't have direct access to those controls yet. I'm sure it will someday, and that will cause just absolute havoc with players because the first people to use it won't know what they're doing. But I mean, that's just kind of the way it'll work out. Yeah. I want this thing to work. I don't know how to make it work. Okay, so we've got event tick, cast the Metasounds source. That doesn't do me anything at all. I need this audio to play the input. How do I set up? Audio input device, right here. Available audio input devices. Where is it? Okay, plugins, take recorder. Take recorder. Let's take recorder, use system default audio device. I mean, audio. Default audio buses. Okay. Input, maybe input has. That's got action mappings. That's not what we're looking for. Okay, so this has an audio input. Audio capture. Where? Okay, so it's got to be that the only way to do it is with resonance audio. No, we're looking for take recorder. Audio input device. See if I can do this. Okay, and I wanted to. Uh-huh. Okay. Do we hear something now? Hmm? What? Why? Well, that's not very nice. Well, that is not getting back out to the audio in the engine, it seems. Which is disappointing, to say the least. Oh, and he left. All right. Well, okay. Here we are. And okay. There's some screaming in the background there. Good kid. All right. So. Yeah. All right. So. Actor hidden in game. All right. So it appears that I need to accept defeat for today and move on to actually. Yes. Yeah. Hmm. All right. Mm-hmm. Ah, there we go. I mean, this game loads up so much faster now. Okay. So here we are. Hmm. All right. So we need um we need to go to the game board manager objects, game board manager. Um, set up level variable. Oh, very good. Okay. And this needs a um target in, score, target. Um, and a level ID and a level name and a level file name. Okay. Use of strings. Okay. And then we've got setters for all of these. I mean, I probably should set this up to be a little smarter. In that you change it, the GUI they changed, yeah, but I'm not going to do that right now. Okay, there we go. We got our setup level variables, and then the game board load save manager, serialize level save, load level save in archive, hit level save. My game board. Setup. Level variables. Oh. Wait. Set level variables, set of level variables. And this. Current level save. No, I don't. Oh my god. This mouse going bad is going to kill me. It's going to drive me nuts. Here we are. It's around here. We get the turnout score target. Oh, no. I mean, game board doesn't really need to know about the file name. Questions if I want that to be the case. That's all. Extract it. Um, 270. Not bad. Slowly, patiently building. Hmm. Gracious. All right. Here we go. Action keys are set up. Okay. So, I can now save and load. Let's see here. So, okay. So here we go. We've got saving and loading set up. Let's build the first few levels. All right, so the first few levels are not going to need no. Um, first few levels are not going to need. Oh, primary game board references the object. Does it need to reference the object? I guess it does. Delete objective 2 and delete BP objective. And delete the hazard. So I now should be able to delete objective 2, the hazard, and the secondary player. Okay, great. Okay. So that is level 1. This, we hit the play button, and we have level 1 complete. Level ID 0. Let's make level ID 1. Turns 1. Objectives 1. Oh. Um, okay. So I now have in my content board setups, we should have 0010.dat. Great. Okay. Um, Actually, what happens here? Um, um, and then load level. Plus, okay. And then um, um, snap to grid is should be an objective here. Go on. Okay. There we go. We've got. And then this is oh, um, and then oh, all right. AFK for 2 seconds, as if anybody's listening. Hello. Okay. This is an orange. I will not subject anybody watching me eat this time. Um, bonk. Answer. I am sitting here waiting to answer questions. Should anybody have them? Do. Alignment center. Okay. There we go. All right. It's pretty lame Q&A time, I guess. So, I shall lecture to nobody about coefficients of expansion and glass blowing, because why not? Nah. I'd like somebody to actually ask me that question sometime, I guess. Be kind of cool. You know? It's weird. It's weird how much I feel like streaming is probably harder to do when you're solo than when you have people to bounce it off of. This is, I think that's a big chunk of why I didn't stream a lot in the last, or I kind of streaming kind of fell apart in the last month, is because I just didn't. Hard to talk to an empty room, even though I guess it's probably good practice. Should you expect the room to fill someday? I guess. I wonder what that was. That's concerning. Very concerning. I don't know what that beep was. Mm-hmm. This stream will become regular, I guess, because it's really miserable to do when you're not regular. Mm-hmm. Really tough to do when you're not regular. It shows up. All right. Well, we're going to send it here for the day.